What's up friends, it's VoltFirecore. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing my breakdown of Enel's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 speedrun. Last video we ended off with getting Rock's core crystal back from the children of Gormott, who have a bit of a task for us. So I'm going to push play and I will talk about it while it goes. Okay, so after taking out those evil birds, we get Rock's core crystal back, and the children who stole Rock's core crystal have a proposition for us, or more just a request. They want us to go beat up some bad guys since these bad guys took out their village. So we teleport back to that skip travel place that we got a lot earlier, and we have to pull Rock here because we have one of those fart clouds. So we pull Rock on Rex, since he's the only driver that can use Rex, and then we're done with Rock since he doesn't have anything else that he can use inside the game, since he's pretty much pointless. He's not that good, he doesn't look that good in my opinion, and his little field skill doesn't have much use besides the story. So we finish this off and take out the bandits that are hiding out inside of a cave. Now this battle, at least for me, is pretty easy. I've never had too much trouble with it. You just target the Great Axe user, and then you take on, well, it's just you charge up on the first enemy, which is a Great Axe user, and then you can choose whoever you want to beat up. And since cross-set's very strong, you can just collect HP potions and take out the enemies. Alright, now these enemies are, well, they're all Gormotts, or Gormotti, and they don't really have much of a purpose inside the story besides they're bad guys, and they beat up some little children or took out their village, so we're getting revenge on them. And doing this is the last thing we have to do inside of Gormott, and then we can continue with the story. This is, again, there's no big point to doing this, besides just learning about Rock and pulling Rock and going back to Gormott and all that. But it's really easy. Take out the Great Axe user, and then you just take out these two enemies with some AoE attacks. And then there you go. It's really easy and you can do it very fast. So since we finished this, we decide to leave and go back to where we came from. And that place is the Argentum Trade Guild. So we grab our ticket and head over to Morardane, which is our next destination. Now, since I don't have the audio on, Morardane is not going to be playing its epic music, but just take my word for it. It's some of the best in the game. Now, let's go get on our boat and head over to one of the best titans in the game. Now, there are a few difficult sections inside this titan. This first section of Chapter 4, it's kind of just like the calm before the storm, since there's a lot of things that can happen inside of Chapter 4. One of those being a very difficult skip, and a few difficult boss battles. Now, the reason our party is going to Morardane is because we need to go to a place called the Praetorium, and he can't hit that place in one shot. It's too far away, and Titans get tired or something. So we have to take a break here and head over there. But some things happen over here, and we have to finish those off. And one of these is part of Tora's character arc. We get to learn about his past and his grandfather and father, which, in short, he used to just work with those two bros. They were making crazy blades, robo blades, waifu blades. And unfortunately, a group of evil people came in and hurt one of the Toras, or one of the Naupons, and the grandfather unfortunately got shot. But he's fine, because later inside the DLC you figure out that he becomes a cyborg, so, you know, I guess that's good. So now that we're inside of Morardane, we're just trying to get to our next spot and head over on a ship and go over to the Praetorium, but some things happen. One of these being a very epic scene in a hot springs. Okay, so first we grab some things. after this cutscene, of course, where we meet a very interesting character known as Mui Mui. At least I think he's there. So we head over here to this little chip shop, and I think we buy 4 of the chain chips. Yeah, we do, and give one of them to Poppy. Now these go on a few blades to make them stronger, but that's a little bit later. So then we go over here and buy the ball attachment, which makes ball-type blades do more damage. And then over to this person, and that hunter chemistry that we got inside of Uriah, we actually craft that, since you gotta craft aux cores. And then you go over here and buy Love Beyond the Clouds, which I'm pretty sure is for a node on a character on their affinity chart. So since we finished all that very quickly, we head over to the hot springs, since Moradane is known for it. Now, one thing that I think is cool about this game is there are actual costumes that you can get if you purchase the DLC. Some of those being bathing suits or just palette swaps for characters. And a few of these are very cool. Now, I'm not gonna say, but Rex, I think that makes a very good Super Smash Bros. Skin. So, okay, I'm gonna pause here because it's actually pretty important for me to say what happens. So, first of all, inside of the bathtub, Nia, Mithra, and Poppy, they're swimming around. We get some nice fan service, but we learn something about Nia, which is touched upon later. I'll get into that. But we hear a little bit of a bang and a whack and a thwack, a bunch of crazy noises, and it turns out that some commotion has happened outside. So we put on all of our clothes and we head outside to see what's happening. So first of all, we go and grab that collection, or that skip travel spot, and then we jump down and go to the inn, since unfortunately going to the hot spring did not count as going to the inn. So we get some levels, since it's pretty important. Well, extremely important, because a couple of these fights you can get beat up really quickly. Now that we finished that, we can teleport back to that area we just got to and continue with the story. Now, this part of the story is, I actually don't know what it's called, but pretty much there is an evil artificial blade running around, and the Ardanian soldiers, or the soldiers for this Titan, are mistaking that evil blade for Poppy. So we're trying to run away, and that's why these soldiers want to beat us up. As you can see, they are hostile enemies, but we have enemy aggro off. So it turns out that this crazy evil blade is known as Lila. She is a blade that Tora, his grandfather, and his father were working on, which is the predecessor to Poppy, the rare blade, or the artificial blade in our party right now. So Tora wants to talk because she might have some information on his lost father, who has actually gone missing. So Tora was able to escape the murder scene that was his childhood. His grandfather, presumably dead, comes back to life inside the DLC, and his father got kidnapped and is being used somewhere, but we don't know where that is. So we have to go around all on the roof, and there she is standing up there like a savage, and we have to go talk to her and try to chase her down. And after we do that a little bit, we have to have a little bit of a fight with her. And she's a very tanky blade, just like Poppy, and to be honest, it's not that difficult. This is one of the only boss fights that I actually have to count my HP potions, because you want to collect the right amount. Usually, when you're just doing boss fights, you get a feeling. You just get a little bit of a feeling. You know that you have enough. But in this one, you want to make sure. So after this, you jump down, grab a collection spot, or a skip travel spot. Can't believe I keep saying that. And you pull some blades. Or I think you just pull one blade. Being Wolfric. Now, Wolfric is that blade that was on the spider creature that we fought inside of Uriah. And he's pretty strong. Since he's a strength blade, he gives a strength buff. We also have to do some blade switches with Rex, since we do not want him to have those blades anymore. And we put that common fire blade on right now. Now, this is pretty important. The reason we throw this common fire blade on Rex is because at the moment, he's stuck with Mithra, and the speedrun relies on fire-type blade combos. And since Mithra is strong, well, Mithra is strong, but we definitely need fire-type blades, and that is why we have this fire-type shield hammer on Rex. So then we give some items to the characters, being the ball attachment, and then we give some pouch items. Now, this pouch item is for Mithra herself, and the chain chips go on her and the common blade, since this common blade does not have much attack. So we check Mithra's chart, and then we go over to Crossset and give her the very important Hunter chemistry, which is going to make her quite strong. And the crit up that we got. We also check her chart and just get those things off, and there we go. Now we can take on Lila. Now, like I said, this fight is a very attacking-based fight. She's very tanky and has a couple moves, or at least one move, that negates all damage, known as Ether Barrier. At least I think that's the name. So here she is. As you can see, she is very robotic-like. Now, I'm not sure exactly the amount of HP potions, but I think it's something around 7 or 8. And then doing that, you can charge up to a level 4 and kill her. Or not kill her, knock her on the ground, and then she runs away like a little baby. So she also has a very high break resist, which breaks are very good for fusion combos, and they also have a possibility to drop HP potions, and then when you topple, it drops HP potions. So if you can get that, it makes this fight a lot quicker. But again, there is only one fight that relies on a break, and that is the Malus fight, which is at the end of Chapter 3. So there is her Ether Barrier. It just blocks everything. If you do accidentally push a Mega Explosion at this point, you're going to have a bad time, because it is going to block all the damage, and then you're going to be sad. So Anel right there, he tried to get a break. Unfortunately, he didn't, but it's perfectly fine, because this is going to kill her, or knock her down. So right after this, we have another fight with Morag, the enemy of the end of Chapter 2, the Special Inquisitor, who is Brigid's driver. Now, she is definitely one of my favorite characters, and this fight is very easy. This one is specifically done, well, we optimized this one to get the maximum amount of EXP, since you can just use a chain attack and get a lot off of her. So we run over there, and that's why we got that collection spot, or skip travel, jeez. Okay, so here's Inquisitor Morag. She's not that strong. She's just followed by some Ardanian soldiers that you can die inside this fight if you're really unlucky and you get your attacks blocked, and then you get targeted by all the dudes. But you should be fine, because you're going to be inside the chain attack animation, which makes you invincible. So this is pretty much the same thing. You just want to collect as many HP potions as possible and try to take out Morag. Now, the reason chain attacking is so good is not only the added damage and the added money, it also charges up and stays up during other fights. So we charged up that special meter up there. You can't really see it, but that is the chain attack meter inside the top left corner. Having that at 3 bars makes it so you can use a chain attack, and it slowly depletes when you're not inside the battle, but it's still slightly active. So since we charge that up, we can hit Morag for a lot of damage with a Mega Explosion, and since using a level 4 Mega Explosion makes the little explosion happen a little later, so then we go inside the chain attack, and then the explosion happens, and we get a bunch of damage from that. So as you can see, we have a bunch of bonus damage. And Mithra, usually inside this game, or this part of the game, she's really broken, but Crossset is above and beyond inside of the brokenness. And since we got to that Mega Explosion, we get to do it again and do even more damage to Morag. So down there with the bonus meter, as you can see, or as you can expect, it gives you that much % more bonus and damage. Well, no, the damage is the multiplier, and then the bonus is the multiplier for the EXP and money. Unfortunately, money is not to use inside the speedrun, since you can kind of just sell rare core crystals or the special items you get. So we just took on Morag, and she wasn't too strong, but we got a lot of EXP from her. So now Morag, well, she's actually kind of chill with us. She figured out it was a misunderstanding, and we're gonna help her out because she doesn't like this rare blade running around, and Tora, well, he needs to find her. So we head back to the original spot of Morardain and talk to this little Nopon, Pity. So we talk to him and learn some interesting factoids. One of those is some barrels we need to track down. Now, usually you just walk over there and then get the barrels, but you can do this little skip where you jump over on some pipes and land on the barrels and probably break your legs, but it's fine. So you go over here, land on this pipe, and then there's this guardrail, which you have to land on the guardrail. If you don't, you're going to die, but land inside the middle of the guardrail, and then you can land right on these barrels. Now, the reason why we're tracking down barrels is because we know that Lila is probably inside of a factory kind of area, somewhere that requires parts. So we're trying to find these barrels, which are used for exporting parts in and out of Morardain, and trying to figure out where these are going. So we figure out that this little guy over here, he has some info, but he's a little brat and requires us to buy things to talk to him. So we have to buy like 2 things from him, but it's fine since we have a lot of money. He tells us the location of another dude who is the main bro with the barrels. He's the exporter of the barrels. Since those previous barrels were not the green barrels, we're looking for green barrels specifically, since those are the ones that are used to transport. So talking to this dude over here, okay, so first of all, you gotta go over here and equip Boreas for a couple reasons. Now, Boreas is used for a Nopon Wisdom checkmark. Now, Nopon Wisdom, as you probably can tell, is the understanding of Nopons. We have to have a certain level of Nopon Wisdom to open up these barrels. If not, you have to do a 30-minute Merc mission quest, which is very slow, as you can probably tell. So we equip Boreas over here and head over to our friend. Now, I remember when I was playing this game, I actually decided that I was going to just wait 30 minutes, and I kind of just left my Switch on and walked away and came back, since I didn't really do anything with skill notches or field skills. So my characters were very weak, I was extremely underleveled, and I didn't really know how to play the game, which is why I had to do quite a bit of grinding. But luckily in this speedrun, it is optimized, so you don't have to do any grinding. So up here are the barrels, and these barrels are green, luckily, and they lead us to our next destination, which is the old abandoned factory. But unfortunately, we can't just head over to the abandoned factory. We have to talk to Morag, since she has to know what we're doing. So we get these barrels. Luckily, we have the Nopon Wisdom. If not, we would have had to get Poppy up to level 3, and that would have taken a while. But there's Boreas, and Poppy pops in there too. So we learned what the writing was, and we figured out where we need to go, which is the old factory. But we do a little bit of a skip. Well, technically it is a skip. Usually what you're supposed to do is go through that dungeon area with a bunch of spiders and spooters, but you can just run over here and do some nice little jumps. Now, I'm not really good at jumping back and turning around. I don't know if Nell has like a certain thing on his controller, but I'm not really good at it. But I can do it. So he jumps over here and grabs this skip travel place and heads over to Morag. So Morag tells us that she has duties to attend to and she can't really help us. And it would be too difficult to send an entire brigade of Ardanian soldiers. So she just sends a bunch of like 13-year-old kids, which I respect Morag. She has a lot of trust. So there are the Ardanian soldiers. For some reason, when you walk in here, they kind of lag a bit and do a little dance. I'm not sure if they're all just trying to load in as fast as possible, but I find it kind of funny. So here's our Patrick-looking friend, and we are able to talk to Morag, who has some information for us, which I already covered. So, since we got the story flag, now we can head over to the old abandoned factory, and that'll probably be it for this video, but we do have a battle smack dab inside the middle of that. So we go back to that skip travel place, because we got it, and it makes it easier, and we head over to the old abandoned factory. Now, inside of this part of the game, I struggled quite a bit since I didn't really know where to go. I didn't know you had to go through that dungeon of spiders. I didn't really understand the game too much, and even when I did know where to go, I kind of just ended up using the stupidest way of fighting, since I'm not really good at fighting. Well, I'm better now. I haven't played in a while, but I think I still got it. If only I could look at some of the replays of me doing some super bosses and stuff. I was probably just spamming every single art. I actually at that time didn't know how to cancel arts, unfortunately, but maybe that'll be a topic of another video since it's kind of hard to get in depth of every single thing. But we are joined by the Zekinator Von Genbu, Master of Stratospheric Thunder. Now, unfortunately, he's standing inside of our way. Well, fortunately, since he's always very funny to see. But he wants the Aegis for himself again, and this time, he's nowhere near Cliff, so he's not going to hurt himself like last time. So he can unleash the strongest attacks possible, but Zeke's not that strong, unfortunately. It would have been cool if he was like a crazy powerful super boss, but I think he's just holding back his power. If you do have a certain update, which is the Xenoblade update, I think it's called, or the New Game Plus update, it does give him a new ability, Eye of Shining Justice, which it makes him very broken. Pandoria, his blade, it helps him unleash his eye patch, which is on his head, of course, and that gives him insane speed, insane damage, and basically just he's broken. Definitely the top 5 in best blades, especially with that one. If not, Pandoria kind of sucks. But Zekinator fires off another one of his ultimate lightning fury / maxes, and unfortunately he didn't prepare for the falling boulder that unfortunately almost lands on him and his blade's head. But it's fine, because he'll be back. I always know he will. You can tell. I remember the first time I saw that cutscene, it was very funny and had a very dirty joke in it, which I find funny too. Zeke was always a favorite of mine. So you have to open up this treasure chest, which when I first played the game, I didn't really know you had to do that, and I got a little sad and very confused. But we're going to head inside this little vent, or this window, since the door is closed, and then I think I'm going to end the video. But after getting this landmark, we get a development up, which adds some Merc missions. Now, we're going to be doing this Merc mission in like a couple frames, to be honest, but we'll save that for next video. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, keep on looking for my videos, and be sure to check out Anel and this video inside the description. See you guys next time.